Hello, Princess on a Pillow here. I am here to do a review slash recap with my opinion on 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. Season 7, Episode 4. It's titled Bini. It means welcome. Let's start with the most boring couple first. The most boring couple is Johnny and Chloe. Okay, so basically, Chloe told us that her first night back in Aruba, her and Johnny did not have sex because she was way too tired for all that nonsense. Johnny told her that he took a couple of days off from work in order to spend time with her. She said she was hungry, so he asked her to make boiled eggs. Chloe told us that there's no reason to use the stove because she usually take them out to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Plus, she said she don't know how to use that stove. It's gas, and she don't know nothing about no gas stove. Then we found out that she's afraid of the stove because it's gas. Then she thought the mosquito killer was part of the stove. That's an old-fashioned mosquito. When I was growing up in Jamaica, that's what they had to deter mosquitoes. It's a spiral charcoal type thing, and you light it, and the smoke deters mosquitoes or bugs or whatever. She thought that was part of the stove. She's young. She don't know. And she's from America. She don't know. So Johnny's a little annoyed that she doesn't know how to use the stove. But he finally showed her how to use it. But he shouldn't be shocked. He shouldn't be annoyed that she doesn't know how to use the stove. He knew who she was. She's a spoiled rich princess. And spoiled rich princess don't cook. He said when she visit, they eat out all the time. But now that she's here to stay, she got to start cooking. Because he wants a wife that stays home and cook. He said going out, he said it saved money. He said cooking at home saved time and money. Then Chloe got annoyed because when she finally figured out how to use, well, he taught her how to use the turn on the stove, and when she finally got the pot on the stove with the water and the egg in the daggone pot, the water was taking too long to boil, so she was annoyed at that. That was that for them. Next up, the next boring couple is Greta and Matthew. I don't like Matthew because he is lying to Greta about them finding an apartment. I don't think he has any plans on moving out of his parents' house. Because he should have done it by now. He should have done that already. And I'm mad at Greta for not putting her foot down and telling him, hey, I am not moving to England until you find us an apartment. I mean, why would you want to go move into his parents' house? Why can't he find an apartment? She's going from good to worse. You know how they say you go from bad to worse? She's going from good to worse. She lives on her own. She has her own stuff. Her own apartment. You know what I'm saying? Now she's going to go live with him in a cramped place with his parents. His meat-eating parents. With dogs and cats and everything else. In a tiny little place. She's going to be miserable. She's going to be miserable. So Greta's friends came for Hazel. They look like a nice couple. Greta said her goodbye to Hazel. And then they took Hazel away. And it was sad. She was crying. She was tearful. She was upset. She was sad. Poor Hazel. Next, Greta is on her way to the airport to fly to England. And I'm envious because I want to visit England so badly. I have watched every single episode of 90 Day Fiance UK. I've also watched Love is Blind UK and Married at First Sight UK. I've watched several episodes of Big Brother UK and Love Island UK. I'm obsessed with the UK. I am. Maybe I'll get there one day. Anyway, she's telling the driver all her business. She's talking about moving to England with her to be with her fiance. She told the driver that she is not comfortable setting a wedding date until her and Matthew, her fiance, have lived together first. So that sounds like she's doing a trial run to me. It don't sound like she's going there to marry him. But I don't think she should marry him until he finds them an apartment. She shouldn't even go there until he finds an apartment. But she's on the plane and she's on her way to hell. And I said hell because she's moving into a tiny little house with his parents in his bedroom, in his tiny little bedroom. And she's used to living on her own. And they're meat eaters. The freezer is going to be full of meat. She's not a meat eater. Her vegetables is going to be right up against the meat. She's not going to be happy. And then he's going to go to work and leave her there with parents all by herself. And she can't go nowhere because they live in a village and she got to walk an hour to get to the next store. I think she's going to be miserable. I think she's going to hell. She's going to hate it. Next up, we have Mano and Anthony. You know, her last episode, her parents picked her up from the airport, picked them up from the airport, and she went on and on and on crying about how a failure she is in the airport, embarrassing everybody. So they get to the parents' house, and this is not the house Mano grew up in. This is a smaller house. Her parents downsized once the kids left. They downsized, which parents usually do. They have the right to do that. They want a smaller place, easier to clean, cost less. It's just them. So they downsized, and now here she come with her family moving in with them in their little tiny spot. And Manu talking about, oh, this is like a sardine. They didn't ask you to move in. You asked them to move into their house. Okay, you're a grown woman with a husband and a child. You should have your own place. Why can't you find an apartment? You could have looked for an apartment before you went to France. You could have gone online and looked for an apartment in France. A cheap apartment. A cheap one-bedroom apartment. A cheap two-bedroom apartment. You could have done that, but you didn't. You decided to move in with your parents. And now you have the nerve to be complaining that this is a sardine? Girl. Their room is tiny, their bed is tiny, and there's one little wall separating their bedroom from the parents' bedroom. So they can't really make any noise or anything because, it's a tiny spot. Anthony is just grateful that he has a place to live where he don't have to pay rent. So they go upstairs to their little tiny bedroom and their little tiny bed, and Manon wants to talk to Anthony about how he hurt her feelings when he said that he feels like a single parent. This happened hours ago in another country, and he has apologized to her several times, but she still won't let it go. She still want to talk to him about that. What is there to say? What is there to say? That's how he feels. He felt like he was a single parent. End of. Right? So he apologized to her again for saying that. And I don't know why he's apologizing, because he still believes it. So why are you apologizing, Anthony? You still felt like a single parent. That's how you felt. So what are you apologizing for how you feel for? Why are you doing that? Anthony told us that in his confessional, he can't tell her any of this to her face. In his confessional, he said that when she hurt his feelings, he just let it go because he doesn't want an argument. She told him all the wonderful things she has done for him. And then she told him he's a wonderful father but a horrible husband. She's just jealous that he is closer to the baby and the baby is closer to him. She feels left out. That's all that is. She feels left out. She's jealous of the baby. So the next morning she's trying to unpack her crap, but she has nowhere to put her clothes. And we found out all three of them slept in the bed. The tiny bed, so she didn't get any sleep. Next, she goes to the garage. I don't know what the hell she was doing in the garage. I guess putting her clothes in the garage. I don't know. But then the messy producer asks her, how does she feel by not having a resolution with Anthony? She said she told Anthony he's pushing her away because she feels like she's never good enough. She said they talked about it and they talked some more, and she apologized to Anthony. She apologized to Anthony? Why didn't they catch that on film? She said she's probably lying. She said she apologized to Anthony and she promised to take the initiative and do more things. Anthony promised, she said Anthony promised to show her more affection. No, Anthony said that. Anthony said he promised to show her more affection. How can you show affection to someone who's constantly yelling at you? Good luck with that, Anthony. Last but not least, we have Luke and Madeline. Luke has landed in Colombia to surprise Madeline. He said the last time he surprised a girlfriend, he found her in bed with her ex-boyfriend. Well, I guess he hasn't learned his lesson now, has he? On his way to see Madeline, he stopped to get her some flowers. I don't know if those was roses or flowers. They were red, but they look like roses. They look like flowers to me. So, in the meantime, Madeline is bragging about how much money the salon made. Her mother came in to get her nails done, and Madeline told us that her relationship with her mother is better now than when she was a child because her mother wasn't around much. She said her mother was working all the time and their relationship was up and down. She said, but Luke taught her to leave things in the past. So you mean to tell me she was pissed off at her single mother for working hard to support her? Okay. The mother is very pretty, though. She's prettier than Madeline. So I guess Madeline must look like her poppy. So Madeline is showing off her diplomas on her wall to her mother, and her mother says she's very proud of everything that Madeline has accomplished. While Madeline is doing her mother's nails, they talk about the wedding. Madeline says she did all the hard work, all the planning for the wedding, and all Luke has to do is pay for it. She said he doesn't appreciate all the planning she has done, and all he talks about is money. She's delusional. She knows the man lost all his money in the glasses and what was it? Eyeglasses and something else. I can't remember. He did some eyeglasses and was it watches? Eyeglasses and watches? Something. He lost all his money in that deal. She knows that. So where do you think he gonna get money from? Anywho, she said she didn't have time to fight with him, so she blocked him. So then back to Luke. Luke bought the flowers and now he's on his way again to surprise Madeline. He thinks she is going to be happy to see him. But the closer he gets to the salon, the more confident he's losing. He's losing his confidence. He's like, damn, what if she ain't happy to see me? What if she's still pissed off at me? So he walked into the salon and Madeline was very surprised. And she actually smiled. When she saw him, she smiled. But after the shock wore off, her smile wore off too. She did not get up to greet him, hug him, or kiss him. He asked her if she's happy he's there. She said no and kept on doing her mother's nails. He called her a liar. And then she smiled, jumped on him, hugged him, wrapped her legs around his waist, and they made out in the salon right in front of everybody. And everybody clapped and cheered. Her mother is very happy. She can't wait for the wedding. So they sat down, Madeline and Luke sat down to talk, and she told him she blocked him because she didn't like the way he talked to her. But then she said in her confessional that she keep asking him for money to pay for the wedding and he doesn't give it to her. She told him the wedding is going to be canceled if they don't pay for it. Luke said they agreed on a budget and the budget keeps going up. But he agreed to meet with the wedding planner to figure things out. So next, they go to the apartment. In her confessional, Madeline said Luke promised her the wedding of her dreams. See, that's where he went wrong. You should have never promised her the wedding of her dreams. You ain't got no money, Luke. The hell? Madeline said they are over budget and behind on payments. She said for some crazy reason, Luke doesn't trust her money management skills. She said because of that, he hasn't been making payments. So next, the wedding planner comes over. Her name is Lizana. Madeline said Lizana is her pageant coach, her dress designer, and her wedding planner. Is Lizana bleeding Madeline dry? Because Madeline got to pay her for the coaching her in the pageant. She got to pay for her dress, and she got to pay for the wedding planner. So Madeline is giving all her money to Lizana. Lizana is making a killing from Madeline. So Lizana told them that they are late on their payments for the wedding. Luke said him and Madeline agreed on a budget of $12,000. He said it was paid, but now they want more money, and it's pissing him off. Luke told us that before he give Madeline any more money, he wanted to know what she spent the $12,000 on. He said he wants to see the damn receipts. He didn't tell her that, he's telling us. But I know what she spent that $12,000 on. I think she spent it on buying that apartment. She bought herself an apartment that he doesn't know anything about. So Luke said Luke said he wants to see the damn receipts before he come up off of any more money. He told us that he didn't tell Madeline and Lazana that. So Lazana told them that now they owe $12 to $13 million. How did I owe 12 to 13 million? You either owe 12 or you owe 13. She said 12 to 13. I'd have been like, well, which one is it, Lazana? Is it 12 or is it 13? That's the million. That's 12 to 13 million in pesos. Which is 3,153 US dollars. 3,153 US dollars. That's how much they owe. But Lazana told them they owe 4,000 in US dollars. She rounded up, but that's not how you round up. That's not how you round something off. You got to round down if it's a certain amount, and you got to round up if it's a certain amount. Lazana, she round up because she getting her commission. All right, she getting her commission. So she said it was they owe 4,000 US dollars. She told Luke if he can't pay in 2 days, they have to cancel the damn wedding. Luke told see, I don't understand that, because when you book places, like if you book a venue, you gotta put down some money. If you paying for a hairdresser, you gotta put down some money. If you're paying for makeup, you gotta put down some money. If you're paying for flowers, you gotta put down some money. If you're paying for, usually if you're paying for a DJ, you gotta put down some money. If you're paying for the food, you gotta put down some money. If you're paying for the drinks, you gotta put down some money. You gotta put down money. So why do they haven't put down any money on the wedding at all? It seemed like all they've paid for is the dress. Luke told Lazana that in December she asked for 4.2 million pesos, which is 1,022 US dollars. Luke said he sent the money to Madeline. Lazana said she did not receive any money in December. Lazana said she only received $1 million for the dress, which is 245 US dollars. Luke pulled out his phone to show proof of the transaction that he sent Madeline the 1,000, the 1,200 US dollars. He said every time he sends Madeline money, she uses it for something else, like shopping. He didn't tell Madeline that, he told us that. He's scared to tell Madeline anything, so he has to tell us. He has to get it off his chest with us in his confessional. Well, if he keeps sending her money and she keeps spending it on other things, what you need to do, Luke, is ask her for the bills and you pay the bills. Ask her for, don't just send her money for her to pay stuff. You ask her for the bills and then you pay the bills. That's all you got to do. And I'm 100% sure that he's giving her an allowance. Plus, she's getting money from the salon. The salon is so successful. She must be getting her money from the salon. So then, so Madeline got mad at Luke because he pulled out his phone to show that he did send her $1,000 for the wedding, to go to the wedding. Madeline got mad at him and said that she paid $1 million for the dress and the rest went for the rent on the apartment. So 4.2 million in pesos he sent, and then 1 million went to the dress. So 3.2 million went for rent. I don't trust Madeline. I don't trust her. I think Madeline is robbing Luke blind. Like he said, he sent her money and she used it for other things that she wants to use it for. And then Luke said, it was a miscommunication. It wasn't a miscommunication. Madeline is robbing you blind, and you're allowing it. Said Luke told them that he only has $3,000. That's the $3,000 his dad gave him. What if his father hadn't given him that $3,000? He said, I only have $3,000 American dollars. So he said, we got to cut some stuff. We got to, I don't have 4,000. We got to cut some stuff off for the wedding. Madeline didn't like that shit. She got mad. She cussed him out and she walked off. The salon is successful. Why is she using the money for the salon? What about the money from the salon? Why she can't use that for the wedding, or some of it for the wedding? She also won a pageant. Why she can't use the money that she won? Usually, when you win a pageant, you win some money. Why she can't use that money for the for some of that money for the wedding? She knows the man is broke. And where did she get the money to participate in 2 pageants? It costs money to participate in pageants. She got to pay the coach. She got to pay for dresses. She got to pay for a whole bunch of crap. When you're in a pageant, where did she get the money from to pay for her pageant, her 2 pageant that she participated in? I think Madeline is bleeding Luke dry. He needs to dump her and bring his butt back to the States. That was the end of the episode. This is the end of my review. Thank you so very much for watching. Princess on a Pillow here. Bye.